Hello dearie, look at you on MediaCorp all. I'm so proud of you and always will be. And I'm very grateful, not just for the free therapy from here on out, but for being able to navigate this journey with you.
To my partner Irvin, thank you for being my pillar of support through this journey. And thank you for understanding me and encouraging me in everything I do, including pursuing this path of helping others as an inspiring therapist. With the energy and love that you give me, I hope to be able to bring joy into the lives of those around me.
When you first heard that I volunteered at IMH, right, what was your first impression?
I was actually very impressed. I had a lot of preconceived notions before that about mental health and like all the stigmas. They influenced me quite heavily in my youth. And I generally associated people with schizophrenia to be like dangerous people I wouldn't want to go near and maybe like interact with. So like when you volunteer at IMH, what would you say are like your day-to-day tasks?
The ward that I'm volunteering at contains like individuals who are diagnosed with schizophrenia. And then I volunteer there for about 2 to 3 hours weekly on Sundays. I manage a group of volunteers, so I will delegate tasks to them. Then when we go down to the wards, I would actually plan different activities with the service users. So we have like games for them, then we talk to them sometimes, or we do exercising as well. So we try to like have a variety of different activities each week.
Prior to your first volunteer session, were you afraid of going to IMH to volunteer?
So I was a bit afraid, and then plus we had to do vaccination, so like there was quite a lot of sunk costs already. I was apprehensive because I'm not sure whether I would accidentally say the wrong things, you know, to the service users at the psychiatric ward. But then after I stepped up and did like the volunteering, I realized that this was one of the best experiences of my life.
I had like a relative who like was staying there. I was just generally fed information about him that like he was just isolated and like not coping well. So I had like the impression that everybody in IMH was like this.
Most people might have the perception that IMH is a very dark, scary institute, right? Where like people with mental health difficulties are there screaming, right? I would believe that lah. So I can share that IMH is not what we perceive it to be. It's firstly not dark. It's quite brightly lit. They actually went through quite a lot of renovations there. So the service users, some of them, they might be shouting not because they are trying to wreak havoc or anything, but that is their way of expressing their needs or their wants, because maybe they are just not as verbal as they would hope to be. After you know me, right, has your perception towards mental health changed?
I was surrounded by a lot of this stigma as a kid, so I understand a lot more about mental health as it is, especially hearing from like your first-hand experiences.
Yeah, I think one thing that I really like about you is that when you have questions about mental health, you just ask me. And I think that's something that I would recommend a lot of people to do, is just ask. Ask people with lived experience or with people with experience volunteering. Then all of the stigmatizing labels that you have about them, it really just dissipates, right? And I hope that we can continue these conversations, these discourses that we have like outside our like normal banters.
Is there any like interesting story they can share with us?
There was this like senior lady. So she was actually quite aloof initially. So I went forward, I just spoke to her and she just gave me one word responses. But then suddenly she asked me like, can you help me fill like some hot water? And then gradually when I came back, we started talking more and more. And then gradually she asked me like, actually she has been wanting to cut her nails for quite some time, and her toenails as well. Why not I offer my help, you know? So I asked her like, do you mind me helping you? And at first she was like, I don't want lah, you know, my feet is dirty, don't make you do this kind of thing. But I told her that she can take me like her granddaughter, and then she was like, okay lah.
So it sounds like a very big responsibility. You're one of the few people that they see on a regular basis, right? Are there any trends in the service users that you observe?
They shared with us that actually the demographic of these individuals, right, they are mostly elderlies. Okay, so they're probably like 60 to 70 years old, and that's what I see. So I can concur with that lah. They have been institutionalized since they were 10 or 20 years old. Yeah, so can you imagine?
That's pretty much their whole lives lah.
Yeah. And when they share with me, sometimes they will say like, yeah, like I was here since primary school. And they're like 70 years old already. So they have been disconnected from the world for that long. So these opportunities to communicate with their volunteers means a lot to them.
Were there points where you feel like just like stopping and giving up the experience?
Honestly, no. I would say that one of the biggest obstacle, like the recurring obstacle every week, is traveling down to Bangkok IMH because I live so far and I have to wake up super early to be there. The whole journey is like I change bus like 5 to 6 times. honestly speaking, I wouldn't give up because this is an opportunity that I cherish so much.
You know what they say lah, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together, right? If Audrina had ever like asked me to join her one day, yeah, sure, I'll be open to it. I think it'd be good to get some first-hand experience myself rather than like hearing it from a volunteer.